I get misty just holding your hand. Walk my way.
Alright y'all, I'm out here at the school making a video on the Prelude. I just want to do a video about the things you got to look out for when you're buying a Honda Prelude. Alright, so these things, as everybody knows, it's a Honda, so you're gonna have to look out for certain things that Hondas do, and let's get into that. Alright, so the first thing you got to look out for are oil leaks. That involves the valve cover gasket. You got your VTEC solenoid over here that'll leak, but the main thing that you really got to look out for are your seals over here on the behind the timing cover. So for me, that's where I was leaking the most. The cam seals especially were the original ones, and they were just broken, came out in pieces, and I had oil leaking for about a year. And you're gonna be topping off oil like crazy, you know. You're gonna have a full 5 quarts of oil in the back of your trunk. You're gonna be filling up 1 to 2 times a week and topping off, and it's gonna be difficult to deal with, but you're gonna do it until you get it fixed, trust me. So I mean, just like any other car, these things do, you like every Prelude owner I know, especially 5th gens, deal with oil leaks. So get those fixed first, because that's gonna be the #1 thing you wanna fix, is just do maintenance, and you're really gonna want to do that, or else you're gonna have bigger problems. All right, so second on the list, going back to the engine bay. So back to the engine bay, we got the automatic transmission, and just to prove to you guys that we got an automatic transmission on the Prelude, is right there. And no, I don't change the shift knob or anything because it's automatic, so we ain't got no reason to do that. But the automatic transmissions in these things are known to go out. Now I'm at 156,000 miles, I believe, on this thing, and it's going strong. You know, I treat it decently for an automatic transmission, but it's probably bound to go out. Now, knock on metal, I'm scared for it to go out because I don't have the money to fix it, but I'm gonna manual swap it eventually once I start making more money and just can afford it, right? But these automatic transmissions are one of the biggest things known to go out on these cars. So just be aware when you're buying an automatic Prelude, you might have to swap to a manual. All right, so on to the next thing. The trunk is open, as we see, and all you smell is that classic Honda smell in here. As you see, I have my oil in the back too. So all you see right here is these clips are popped up. I don't have them in there anymore, and that's because of this. It's hard to tell, but these gaskets, they're moist, they're wet. There's all this carpet has a little bit of moisture in it, and when it's wet outside, as you can see, there's water all on my trunk, even after drying it earlier after I washed it. You're gonna have trunk leaks. Now the trunk leak issue, they come from these gaskets that I showed you. That's the main area they come from. I mean, it could be like a normal thing, like your drain plugs all around. Those could be piled up with dirt and stuff like that. But I mean, the biggest issue is those gaskets. Now they're pretty cheap, like 36 bucks, and I haven't got any yet, but I'm ordering those soon. So that'll fix that trunk issue and get that mildew smell out of your trunk. But that's another big thing you gotta look out for when you're buying one of these. All right, so back to the oil again. I'm telling you, these Hondas, especially the Preludes, you gotta look out for the oil level on these things. So right here, you know, it looks inconspicuous. No oil leaks right now because I fixed them, but along with the oil leaks, you're gonna have burning oil. Now look, I have no leaks, and I'm about 2,000 miles since my last oil change, and I was already below the 2 dots on the dipstick level. So if you don't know what that means, that's about a quart, little less than a quart low. and that's just from burning oil from driving over 2,000 miles. So these things burn oil. These motors, these H22s, are known to burn oil, so you got to be careful of that. I mean, you don't have to be careful, but just be aware of that so you won't burn your oil even if you have no oil leaks, and then you drive in with no oil in your car, and then that leads to motor go bye-bye. Okay, hey, loyalty make you family. Stay clean, cold. But the next thing is the key wear. Now I have, I think, 3 different keys. I believe this is one of them, and it's a 90s Honda, 2000 Honda, and you're gonna wear out the keys. These like old Hondas, I've had them, and the keys are always worn out. So just be aware of the key and the ignition itself just wearing out. So another thing with wearing it out is you'll stick it in there and you can't turn it over. It goes like this, and you just gotta keep flipping the key and just kind of moving it around until you're able to turn the ignition on. And I mean, when you're looking at a car, obviously that's one thing you can mention is just be like, yo, what's up with this? So be aware of that when you're looking at the keys. All right, y'all, the next thing about these Preludes you're gonna notice is this weather stripping. As you can see, it's chrome, and I was thinking about just sanding this off, but I kind of like it black. It just goes with everything better. The way to combat this is there's people that can vinyl wrap this, or you can do it yourself. Just sand all this off, vinyl wrap over it. But the other option is you can just buy a whole new weather setting thing. I mean, they're probably harder to find, but I know there's like Extreme Prelude, and he's selling some right now that are in stock. But just be aware that this weather stripping on every single Prelude you are gonna see, I guarantee is gonna be fucked up. All right, y'all, for the next part is going to be on the interior and under the hood area, both at the same time. All right, so if we come in here, take a seat, and you'll see up here in the right your e-brake light. That's when your e-brake comes on, and when that comes on, obviously when you put the e-brake down, it goes away, right? Well, wrong. Sometimes if it's cold enough outside, this will happen. The e-brake light will stay on with the e-brake off. So there's a sensor in your brake master cylinder when the thing dips in there to read the level, and you just gotta twist the cap off and just move it around and twist it back on, and it'll fix your problem. Even if your fluid is up to the level, it'll still read it wrong and just have the e-brake light on. So that's the way to fix it. I mean, I think it's just because of the weather. I've never had real problems with my brakes. The light just stays on from the sensor. And last but not least, this is not in order, but these struts. Obviously, I'm running coilovers. I'm running True Heart coilovers on this. But the stock struts on these things, when I bought the car, you could just hear just bouncing and have hella play in them. Obviously, you're gonna need new struts if that's happening. I was going to get coilovers anyways, so I mean that fixed my problem. I would recommend coilovers because the stock ride height on these things make you look like a monster truck leapfrog, making you look like you're just gonna be jumping around the pond when you're driving and shit. So the best way to combat that is just go with coilovers, or just a good strut, aftermarket or OEM one. Even if you get coilovers on these things, you could still put them at pretty much stock height. I mean, not completely, they're gonna be a little bit lower, but it'll be pretty damn close. So that's always a good option to go with because they're adjustable. That's it for this video. But another thing I'd like to say is, just with any other vehicle, you gotta check for motor problems, just all that stuff, even the interior stuff, lights, all that. Just make sure you're checking for that, not only on Preludes or old Hondas in general, but any car. Just look out for stuff like that, and you'll be good when you're buying one of these things. I recommend try to find a more lower mileage one, but obviously they didn't make that many of these, and since they didn't make as much of these Preludes, it's gonna be hard to find lower miles, but it's possible. Right now prices are going up, but they're still low on these things, so you can still find one for a decent price. So I recommend picking one up. I mean, it's pretty quick for a Honda, especially the time it was made, but it's overall, these cars are just beautiful cars and have a timeless look, so I recommend picking one up. All right, y'all, I just wanted to make this short quick video before I go to this meet. Y'all see that I'll record some clips of that and put this in this video, but I hope y'all enjoyed this little informational video. And yeah, just make sure to look out for all those things when you're buying one of these. Later, y'all.